How do working class people perform classwork at work? Classwork is what people do in cross-class encounters when they interact with someone who is in a higher or lower class than them, and this interaction results in anxiety and discomfort for both. I'm Dr. Anna Kalschmidt. I'm an industrial organizational psychologist, and I research the unwritten rules of work for people from working class backgrounds and people who are neurodivergent. There are two types of classwork: intrapersonal, what you say on the inside, and interpersonal, how you interact with others. Cross-class interactions are often very uncomfortable for people from working class backgrounds because they are stereotyped as less human, incompetent, and morally inferior. They can also be seen as excessive or gaudy and even dangerous. And because of these stereotypes, a lot of people from working class backgrounds feel a lot of shame, dehumanized, embarrassment, and inadequacy. And those things fuel our friend imposter syndrome when you've moved up into a higher status job. So to cope with these feelings, people from working class backgrounds do intrapersonal classwork when they're in these situations. One method is to accept the myth of meritocracy, to believe in that American dream that if you work hard enough, it's all going to go away. You're going to be in the upper class one day. This is temporary. Another option that has a little bit more immediate impact is leaning into another identity. For example, maybe you're in a very low status position at work, but you work at a really prestigious firm, so you highlight that. A lot of people do this with religion. Even when I've interviewed people and I've asked, what class were you as a child? Like, some people have responded to me, well, I was always a child of God. We lean into identities that make us feel better than other people when we're in situations where we feel like they are seeing us as not as good as them. Another strategy is to rebrand and have pride in your identity, even if the environment you're in doesn't like it, though that does have some backlash, as you can see in my other videos. And another is to focus on the strengths of your identity. So for example, as I've said, working class people are very communal. So some people really lean into, you know what? I don't have all the connections that you do, but I'm a great teammate. And some people even use it to denigrate the upper class and say, well, at least I'm not selfish like you are. And a big part of this from the working class, since there's such a value of work ethic, is to see that you have a stronger work ethic than the upper classes. And that's the narrative that you can tell yourself to cope. Interpersonally, between people, people may try to pass and hide their class background. I have found this in my research, even among white men from working class backgrounds. They do try to hide it, though they are often outed by those unwritten rules and the hidden nonverbal cues. And sometimes they withdraw completely. They see they're never going to be accepted. At best, you're new money, and so they leave the job or the situation entirely. These situations and strategies have very complex emotions and experiences because by passing and playing the unwritten rules, you can feel like you're conforming. And that doesn't help get rid of the stereotypes or help bridge the gap between the classes. However, it can help you cope and survive and get into a position of power where you can pass that baton back. But it requires remembering that when you get to that leadership position. Navigating these experiences can cause a sense of conflict for people who are truly proud of where they come from and who they are and still love that part of their identity, but they don't feel like they're allowed to embrace it in certain settings, even though it has strengths. This is why I'm so interested in social class mobility and why I spend my life researching this stuff. The US has built its whole identity on social class mobility and the idea that social class is malleable, but we know throughout history who has had access to that dream has been different. And that's what I'm dedicated to doing, is trying to equalize this field and make the unwritten rules of work more transparent. Follow me for more videos and check out my waiting list for my upcoming book later this year.